Greetings, Earth creatures. Welcome to Verbling. I'm Teacher Oakley. And for the next hour, we are going to be looking at subordinating conjunctions. Wow, those sound important. Well, they are. This is I kind of wish I had scheduled this class for tomorrow before the complex sentence class that I'm doing tomorrow, but this was the spot that was open, so here I am. Okay, conjunctions are extremely important to understanding sentence construction, sentence structure. Okay. Last class, the last hour here on Verbling, we were discussing compound sentences, and we were joining those little independent clauses together with coordinating conjunctions. We were focusing on using coordinating conjunctions to combine two simple sentences into one longer sentence. Coordinating conjunctions they're easy. They're very simple. Just to review, fanboys, for, and, I have to look, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Fanboys, these are our coordinating conjunctions that we use to combine two independent clauses to make a compound sentence. In this class, we're going to look at all the others, of which there is a great and wondrous multitude. We're going to look at some examples, not all of them. We don't have the next, 5,000 years to do that. So we're going to look at some prime examples and form up some sentences and look at some guiding rules to using these. Okay, should be fun. Woohoo! All right, first of all, I would like to welcome y'all to the class. Hello, Lena. Hi, Lena.
Hi, Oakley. Hi, everyone.
Hi, hi. You're so cheerful. Wonderful. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Okay, nice to have you here. Mustafa, welcome back.
Hello, teacher. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I almost got lost on my way, Mustafa, but I found it. Santiago, hello.
Hello again. Okay.
Hi. Welcome back. Nice to have you. I'm glad you guys showed up because this is a very good class after the last class. Yeah, I'm glad to be showing you this. Okay. Now, whereas we use coordinating conjunctions to combine two independent clauses, subordinating conjunctions connect a dependent clause to an independent clause, or another way to say that. There's actually three ways to say that. A dependent clause to a main clause. Or I can say a dependent clause to another simple sentence. Whatever, a main clause, independent clause, simple sentence, all really mean the same darn thing. Okay, let's look at our definition here. Okay. A conjunction which introduces this dependent clause to the main clause is also called a subordinator or subordinating conjunction, either way. And it is different from the other main type of conjunction, which is a coordinating conjunction. Again, fanboys. Most, not all, most subordinating conjunctions, tongue twister, are single words. However, Some consist of more than one word. Okay, single words, for example, because, very common, before, when, all right. And some consist of more than one word. For example, as long as, except that. Obviously, these are phrasal subordinators. But they function exactly the same. It's just they function as a unit. You have to be able to recognize them as a unit. This happens in English. We have combinations of words, compound nouns. The word cell phone, that's really considered one word. You cannot even think of it as two separate words. Except that, as a subordinating conjunction, you have to consider it. Pick up your clothes. Pick up is a phrasal verb. You cannot consider it in any other way than as a unit. This happens a lot in English. It's not a language of individual words. It's a language of chunks of words, really. Okay, we're going to come back to this. All right, we are definitely going to come back to this because I want to practice with you all making sentences. But I want to make some other points first. Small break while I say hello to Xingyu. Hi, Xingyu.
Hi, teacher.
Welcome.
I
Hi.
just came from my school. I have had 4 lessons for my students.
You had 4 lessons since the last class I had with you earlier today?
Yes, yes.
How long are your lessons? 5 minutes?
No.
I'm
It's about 40 minutes.
It seems like I saw you like 20 minutes ago. Sorry. Okay. Time flies when you don't know what you're doing. Okay. All right. No, I have had so much fun that time is flying. All right, let's talk about some of these, the most common. Today we're not going to look at the weird ones. We're going to look at the more common subordinating conjunctions. And first of all, I'm going to zip through this. Again, I'm going to come back to this, so maybe we can practice, hopefully, as time allows. These subordinating conjunctions do perform. They do have a purpose. There's a reason we're using specific ones. For cause, for example, why did something happen? Okay. Here you see some both one word and phrasal subordinating conjunctions. Obviously, I think some of these you would recognize. He did it because he's crazy. All right. Why? What is the cause? Why did he do it? Because he's nuts. Okay, notice the placement. He did it because he's crazy. Sometimes subordinators may serve the same purpose, but we put them somewhere else in the sentence. For example, since he's nuts, he did it. Okay. Sometimes they show a cause in a different way. He did it so that he could prove he was nuts. Okay, so slightly different how we're going to use that. But overall, the meaning is a cause. Here are a group of subordinators that we use for concession and comparison. Actually, those are 2 different things. Really, this should be 2 different groups. Okay. Even though I have air conditioning, I am still hot. Gosh, it's hot here. Okay. Although cats are nice. Okay. Even though all right, that's okay. Although cats are nice, I prefer dogs. There's a concession. That's what a concession is. You concede that cats are nice, but I prefer dogs. And it's kind of a comparison as well. When you concede something, you're also comparing it. Okay. Frankly, I need to say in contrast, frankly, because I can see a contrast subordinator, whereas cats are mean, dogs are friendly. Okay, Lena? Just in case I miss you guys sending me little love messages, don't be shy about shouting on out. I don't really care if you guys interrupt me. It's totally cool with me. So if I didn't notice your little message there, but now I did. So Lena is asking, what is the difference between though and although? Well, sometimes nothing. Okay, let's think about that for a minute. Okay, what's that, Mustafa? All right. There isn't much difference, okay? A lot of times it can be preference, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Although I asked him, he didn't come. Okay, although usually goes at the beginning of the sentence. In the middle of a sentence, it could be either. And we do use though in another totally different way. For example, I might go. I don't know though. Like this. Okay, so here I can't use although. I might go, I don't know, although. That doesn't make sense. So basically that's it. Although is always at the beginning of a sentence. Though or although can be your preference in the middle of a sentence. At the end of a sentence, we always use though. I can't use although at the end of a sentence. Yeah. So there you go. That's pretty simple. Basically, they perform the same kind of function. It's just all about where we put them. Okay? Lena, good? We good? Are we good? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. It's
Sure.
clear.
Cool. All right. Condition. Oh, these tricky ifs. If, even if, in case. All right, provided that something happens, then something else will happen. The negative of if, or more or less if not, is unless. Unless he behaves, he can't go to the show. Okay, if he behaves, he can go to the show. Those two sentences mean exactly the same thing. The condition and the result. All right? And again, hopefully we can come back to these. Place is very obvious, where or wherever he goes. Yeah. Wherever he goes, there's trouble. And of course, we have many. This is a short list of time subordinators. There are so many. These are extremely common. In English, English seems to be somewhat preoccupied with describing both number, which is why we have articles, a, and the, and time. Okay, we have the longest list of time ones, but to tell you the truth, this is a very short list of time subordinators. There are a lot more. These are the most, again, common ones, useful ones. While he was dancing, she was singing. Okay. When he sings, she dances. Okay. All right. We're going to come back and practice making sentences with all these crazy subordinators. But there's a few little points I want to make with you guys first. All right. English has a wide range of subordinate conjunctions. Yes. Here's a point. Looking at, for example, that. Be careful. Sometimes subordinate conjunctions also have other functions, like that. That pencil on my desk. Okay, I'm using it now as a demonstrative. It is not a subordinator. All right? It has a different function. after 5 o'clock, I will go to the store after 5 o'clock. After 5 o'clock here in this sentence is not a subordinator. It is a preposition. After 5 o'clock is a prepositional phrase. Be aware of that. Some are, some aren't. And they might have other functions as a preposition, a demonstrative. Yeah, even sometimes, occasionally, I think an adjective, a couple, which are not coming to my mind. Okay, they are placed before a complete sentence or independent clause to make that clause dependent. Here's another point. Normally we think, okay, they're placed before it's a dependent clause it doesn't work as a sentence because it doesn't work as a sentence, but actually it doesn't work as a sentence because we've added a subordinator. Which means it's not going to work unless it's dependent, like children are dependent on the parents. The children aren't going to survive without the parents. A dependent clause isn't going to survive without an independent clause. Otherwise, you have what this is called is a fragment. You don't want to do this. College professors hate this when you write papers in English. I'll tell you that. They really do. They really get on you for this. When Doris bought the cake, in other words, when Doris bought the cake, I cannot walk up to you in the street and say, when Doris bought the cake, you're going to look at me like I'm nuts. It doesn't make any sense because there's not enough information for it to make sense. So it is not a simple sentence. It doesn't fit the definition, and it's not going to work. Okay. There's a couple points. Okay. All right, this is what I just said. To give you another example, some words are both subordinators and prepositions. I actually doesn't go far enough. I pointed out that, which can be a demonstrative. If the word introduces a finite clause, it is a subordinator. If it introduces a phrase, it is a preposition. What is the difference? This is really important, actually. All right, let's take a minute and try to absorb this into our brains. A subordinator, okay, I saw her after I had my interview. Preposition, introducing a prepositional phrase. I saw her after the interview. What is the difference? Dun, dun, dun. Lena, what is the difference? Can you explain to me what is the difference between these two sentences?
Just the second sentence after is used as preposition, and in the first sentence there is something like two different clauses.
Well, yeah, I mean,
am I right or not?
Yes, you're exactly right, and that's what it is an example of. Let me rephrase my question, and let me throw it out to the class. Okay, I'm sorry, I was not clear in my question. You are exactly right. You answered the question I asked. Okay, let me rephrase. What is the difference between a phrase and a clause? Okay? If the word introduces a finite clause, it's a subordinator if it introduces a phrase. So, okay, you're right. One is a clause, one is a phrase. What is the difference between a clause and a phrase? Anyone? What does the phrase have that the clause does not?
Teacher, can I talk?
Sure you can. Wish you would.
Clause means a independent sentence, including word and subject.
Okay. Clause.
The phrase,
Okay.
the phrase, the phrase talent have the talent have the whole meaning.
Okay. Well, all right. You're just about there. Okay. All right. I had my interview is a simple sentence, right? That's what you're saying? Yeah. Why is it a simple sentence? It's got a subject, noun, I. Okay.
Verb and
And it's got a verb, had. Yeah. Simple sentence or a clause has to have a subject, noun, and of course noun, subject, noun, and a verb. Okay. The difference is, okay, so a clause has to have a subject, noun, and a verb. There you go. That's it. That is it. Now there's two kinds of clauses. Independent clause, which is exactly the same thing as a simple sentence. No difference. One equals the other. They are the same thing. An independent clause or simple sentence has obviously a subject, noun, and a verb. It also makes sense all by itself. So if I walk up to you on the street and I just say this clause, I had my interview. Okay, that's perfectly understandable. Okay, that's a complete idea. The idea is it's complete. Not just that it makes sense, it's a complete idea by itself. All right, so a clause with after, what's the difference? It's got a subject, noun, it's got a verb. What it doesn't have is a complete and finished idea. There has to be more added to it to make it complete. So if I walk up to you on the street and I say, after I had my interview, and then I stop talking, you're going to wonder, did I have a stroke? Have I lost my mind? Go ahead, finish. You're going to say, go ahead, and then what? It's not a complete idea. That's it. That's it exactly. That's the whole thing. In a nutshell, put simply, that's it. Exactly. Okay. After the interview, there's no subject. There's a noun, most certainly, and any prepositional phrase will need to have a noun following the preposition. But there's most certainly no verb. Okay. All right. That is it. That's important to understand whether you're a subordinator, what it is functioning as, a subordinator or a preposition. Okay, now, all right, additional information. There are three main types of subordinating conjunctions. Okay, here they are. One, the simple subordinator consists of one word, so we call it simple. Okay, here's some examples. Although, unless, until, while. All right. A complex subordinator consists of more than one word. Earlier I called it a phrasal subordinator. You may hear it called that as well. It can sometimes be called that, but here's some other terminology. Simple versus complex. All right. Fine. In order that, such that, okay, oh, here's an interesting point. Another reason I wanted to show you this. Granted that, or assuming that, why do we have that in parentheses? Does anybody know why? Why is it showing us that in parentheses? So that. I gave him water so he may live.
Maybe because you can use that or not.
Aha.
It's something optional.
All right. You got it. Thank you. Okay. Leave so he may Live. Okay, leave, live, whatever. All right. Now this is an interesting little example. I gave him water, so he may. Okay, this is very interesting. This is very tricky right here. Actually, it's the simple sentences in English that are the trickiest, quite honestly. This is one tricky sentence because I can do a lot of things to this. If I put a comma here, I gave him water so he may live. All right, what is that, Mustafa? What kind of sentence is that? Hint from last class.
I talk.
So, teacher, I gave him water so he may live. So it is like independent clause.
Two independent clauses. He may live. That's an independent clause. And so as I gave him water. Okay, this is very tricky. Here's why. The comma and so indicates a different kind of conjunction. That is a coordinating conjunction, and I am combining two independent clauses. I have a compound sentence. This is a compound sentence. All right, with one of my fanboys. I know because of the comma. Okay, but on the other hand, this sentence is not wrong if I don't have a comma. Because I'm using it like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's completely.
So that he may live. Okay, it is optional. Santiago's correct. That he may live. He is the man who I saw. Okay, he is the man that I saw. That, okay, that is the car which I saw in the parking lot. That is the car that I saw in the parking lot. That is the car I saw in the parking lot. See what's going on there?
But teacher, I gave him water so that he may live. Like now, it doesn't explain like complete idea when we turn it to so that.
Sure it is. He may live.
Yeah.
That is a complete idea. It's not in context, okay? You can't think of it that way. You can't think of, there are many sentences you could say without context would make no sense. There's literally an infinite amount of sentences you could say just one sentence and it wouldn't make sense. In context, it would say. There's many contexts where he may live. It may mean something else. He's very sick. Yes, he may live. Is he going to die? He may live. Not like that. Anyway. That is the car which I saw in the parking lot. Okay. All right. What is this? What is this right here, guys? Can anybody answer me?
Attribute clause.
What?
Attributive clause.
Well, okay, that's another way to say it. It's also a relative clause.
Oh.
Right?
Relative clause.
Okay, I can say this with which I saw in the parking lot, that I saw in the parking lot, or that is the car I saw in the parking lot. You're allowed to say it any of those three ways. So when you're creating, and by the way, a relative clause is also a dependent clause, always. If you include any kind of relative clause in your sentence, you are automatically creating a complex sentence, or possibly compound complex, but at least partially complex sentence. Absolutely. You have to be, by definition. Well, for many reasons, because you're using a subordinator. But here's a weird trick. If I eliminate the relative pronoun which or that, this still, guess what? This is still a complex sentence. Crazy. Because still this yellow part is a relative clause. Okay, and that is exactly why I can eliminate that, and that is why that is in parentheses here. Because sometimes it can be implied. Now, I know that's very tricky. In real life, what I would suggest in practical terms, it's a very tricky grammatical idea, but in practical terms, we, generally speaking, we're not going to eliminate this relative pronoun when we write. When we write, personally, it's okay to not use it, but I don't because it can be very confusing. Particularly if I'm being scored academically or on a IELTS or some kind of TOEFL test or something, I want to make sure that the instructor knows that I know that I'm creating a relative clause. But in any case, it makes it clearer, having so that he may live. Okay, that's just clearer in writing. In speaking, I probably would say, I gave him water so he may live. Or so he will live, whatever. I may choose a different. May is a little more formal, so I may use this in writing. I may use a different modal for speaking, so I don't sound so formal. So I'll drop it when I'm speaking. In other words, I'll use it when I'm writing. In general, that's my suggestion. You don't have to. You don't have to listen to me. That's okay. I don't even listen to myself sometimes. Okay.
Teacher,
Yeah.
when you said, like, I gave him water, so he may live, now you have to put comma, right?
Now what? Sorry?
You have to put comma, right?
No, I don't. Because the fact is, this now is a part of a complex subordinator where I'm omitting that. This is so odd. English is crazy. This is a complex sentence, Mustafa. If I add a comma, this is a compound sentence. Ha! Crazy. It's nuts. It's crazy. Okay. Just that, it just happens to work out. That's just one. That's a very tricky one. Okay, that's very tricky, and this brings up really tricky things when people try to start sentences with fanboys, again, coordinating conjunctions. Because, as you know from last class, we use it after the first independent clause to connect it with another independent clause. When people start sentences with and, but, yet, so, it drives me crazy. But here it can happen because, of course, we can start sentences with any of these subordinators, right? Of course we can. In order that I might do better in school, I will study harder. Well, of course I can start a sentence that way. So that I may do better in school, I will study harder. Well, fine. So this is a very, very, very tricky aspect of English that people frequently make mistakes on. They try to start sentences with one of the fanboys words, the fanboys connective, coordinating subordinators. Sorry. So they try to start a sentence with and. If, in general, what I do personally, if I'm writing a very important paper, I just never ever do this. That's one option. Never start a sentence with fanboys. You have so many other options for subordinators. Because if you're using it as a coordinating subordinator and you start a sentence with it, it's wrong. It is extremely wrong. If you use it, for example, so that, example, well, here's a simple example. Any subordinator at all, always, all of them, you can reverse. But, however, if you use a subordinator in the first clause and then the dependent clause is first, then you need to have a comma. So I can just as easily have the same sentence like this. So he may live, I gave him water. So what am I doing? Well, I've got one of those fanboys in the beginning of a sentence. The coordinating subordinator. But it's not really, because it's really so that. So even though I'm omitting that, this sentence is perfectly viable. It's perfectly okay. Okay. Very tricky. So you got to be a little careful. In general, one way to avoid problems with this is if you have started a sentence with one of the, again, fanboys, with and or but or so or yet. If you started a sentence with one of these, reread your sentence. If you can omit it, if you can get rid of and or but or so or yet, and the sentence still makes perfect sense, it does not change the meaning of the sentence without it, guess what? You don't need it in the first place, and furthermore, you're using a connective or using one of the fanboys. You're using a conjunction, which is a coordinating conjunction, and it's wrong. It's dead wrong. It's always wrong. Could never be right. So that is the basic litmus test. So you have two options. Never ever start a sentence with one of these. That's the easy one, because believe me, you have hundreds of alternatives. There's no reason that you have to do this. It's not necessary. I don't know why people insist on doing it so frequently. It's completely unnecessary. That's your first option. And frankly, that's what I do. And I'm an English teacher. I just avoid the problem altogether. There's no need for it. Your second option, if you insist on doing it, test the sentence. Does the sentence make sense without it? If it does, then it shouldn't be there. Okay. Extremely common mistake and an extremely important point right there. It's very confusing, as you can see, because we have these weird. Why? Because we have these weird complex coordinators, subordinators, sorry, that include these sometimes disappearing relative pronouns. Okay, and that is why it's so confusing. Okay, back to our subordinating conjunctions. We also have correlative subordinators. These are pairs of words. We need them both in order for the sentence to make sense, because we're relating the two clauses is what we're doing. Okay. Scarcely had I arrived when my wife started yelling at me. Okay, I had arrived when my wife started yelling at me. Well, that almost makes sense. Okay, they go together. Obviously, if something happens, if the temperature is too high, then you will burn the cake. Okay, clearly I need them both. It doesn't make sense. The temperature's too high, then you burn the cake. Or if the temperature is too high, burn the cake. Obviously, I need both of them to make the sentence make any sense. So correlative, they correlate. They work together. in correlation. Okay, so that's it. This is another common mistake. People use one and they forget to use the other. All right, another thing to be very much aware of. Okay. What is this? Okay, these are goofy things. Okay. All right, let's try a little exercise. Actually, let's start more basically here. Let's try a little exercise. You guys are gonna keep it simple. You guys are gonna use if, because, although, or while. Okay. Each sentence here has two clauses. Okay. All right. Well, you guys figure it out. Which clause comes first and which of the you don't have to worry about using a giant multitude. However, if you want to, what I'm telling you is you can use any of these subordinators right here. You can use your own if you would like to, any of the ones we have reviewed today. All right? But definitely one of these will be appropriate for you, is what I'm telling you. If you want to try a different one, go ahead. By all means, have at it. But let's just try this. How are you going to combine these sentences with a subordinator? Okay. Let's start from the, okay. Santiago, why don't you go first here?
Okay. I will help the man because he deserves it. He deserves it.
Okay. I'll help the man because he deserves it. Also, again, I remind you, it is just as possible to put because he deserves it, and then comma, I will help the man. So don't forget to tell me as you're telling me the answer, your answer. If you need a comma, don't forget to tell me, because
Okay.
You did not need a comma. Your independent clause is first. You're not supposed to have a comma. Actually, that's a mistake I frequently make. I may have a long sentence, so I put a comma in front of a subordinator, which comes after, and that is actually wrong. That is a mistake I frequently make, actually, I have to confess. Zingu. Next one, number 2. Zingu? Zingu, are you there? Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
While we were talking about her, comma, Mary came up.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, all right. Because the dependent clause is first. Okay. Yeah. That will work. That makes perfect sense. Excellent. Very good job. And Lena, number 3.
Hold on a second. Just I need to think. Although he is my enemy, comma, I admire Mr. Brown.
Okay. Very good use of although, which you were asking about.
Yeah, you explained me how I can use it.
Apparently, I did a very good job. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Apparently, I did. Although, wait a minute. Did you give me the comma? We need a comma. Did you tell me the comma? I don't know if you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, then I did an excellent job because that is correct. Although, all right. Although I admire Mr. Brown, he is my enemy. This is interesting. Could you? It's an interesting sentence, but Lena, can I say, although he is my enemy, I admire Mr. Brown?
I don't know.
Uh,
I said, although he's my enemy, comma, I admire Mr. Brown, and I think I was wrong.
oh, is that what you said? Actually, you know what?
Yes.
You could say it either way, and it would make sense.
Yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
because you're showing a contrast of different ideas. Actually, it would make sense either way, so it doesn't matter. I'm sorry if I wrote it backwards from what you said.
No, that's okay. That's not a problem.
No, and actually, it isn't a problem because you could say it either way. Because although shows the point of using although is to show that these are two. Here come you're introducing two contrasting ideas. Ironically so in this case. All right, it's either way it works. Okay, Mustafa, how about the next one here?
I don't know, like I see, it seems like although it's work here, like although I came, you sent for me, or I came because you sent for me.
Well, although is not going to work. Those are not contrasting ideas.
Okay,
you
I
sent
came.
for me, I came. Those aren't different.
I came because you sent for me.
You know what would be different, Mustafa? I didn't come. I did not come, although you sent for me. Those would be contrasting ideas.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
So I came because you sent for me.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. And no need for a comma because, again, I came, very short sentence, but in fact it is a simple sentence. It is an independent clause. Okay, great. Santiago, back to you.
Okay. If she's able, comma, Evelyn will come to school.
Okay. Okay. Comma.
Comma, yeah.
Evelyn will come to school. Okay.
Will come to school.
Not only is it a complex sentence, which it certainly is, all of these are complex sentences, every single one. When you use a subordinating conjunction, you're creating a complex sentence. Not only is it a complex sentence, it's another special kind of sentence. Santiago, do you know what this is?
I don't know.
You know what I'm poking around at? Anybody? Does anybody know what this is? A perfect example of? Anybody? No? This is a little something called, this is a conditional sentence.
Okay.
I'm exactly first conditional.
And to be precise, the first conditional, thank you very much, or sometimes called the real conditional.
Yeah, first conditional, okay.
Yep, that's it. Very good. Present tense in the if clause, and then will, future tense in the second clause, as opposed to if she were able, Evelyn would come to school, which is the unreal, or the second conditional. Okay, one other thing, because we've got if here, another a mistake people often make using the subordinator if, believe it or not, if in English, and unless, these subordinators are considered to be time subordinators. Let's hang on a second. Let me zip back up. I want you guys to have another quick look at these time subordinators, because I want to make a very strong point here. Another very common mistake in using subordinators. See all of these, guys? When, while, whenever, blah, 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 after, before, once. Okay? Okay. there is a special rule about using time subordinators that has to do with future tense. Does anybody know what it is? Very simple, really.
using simple present.
You never use, never use any future tense, and that includes perfect, continuous, simple, passive, any. Never use any future tense with a clause with a time subordinator. You cannot ever at any time. You cannot say after I will come, once I will come, until I will come. None of these ever should be used with any future tense. Okay? Another area where people make mistakes with subordinating conjunctions. Okay, that's an important one. Remember this rule. Okay. And strangely enough, although we have if up here in the condition, I have to tell you that if and unless, as far as English is concerned, are considered to be subordinators, not unless. They act as time subordinators, and you can never use any future tense. One of the common mistakes when forming conditional sentences is to use a future tense in the if clause, which is wrong. You can't say, if she will be able, for example. Can't do it, ever. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to make that point. Okay, Zinyo, you want to try number 6?
Number 6. Although he knows he wrong, he will not admit it.
He's wrong? Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, what's the problem with this? I don't have any problem with although. That's fine. What is the problem, Zingo?
After wrong, we need a comma.
Thank you. You are correct. Very good. Okay. Very good. Lena, number 7.
Although the man is rich, comma, he is unhappy.
You're perfectly correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. How could I? That's a complex sentence using a subordinator. This is very tricky. I should give this one to Mustafa, really. Okay, Lena, I am going to let you off the hook. You did the job.
Okay, till next time.
Till next time. Mustafa, since you were in the class earlier today, I'm going to challenge you to make this into a compound sentence. Using, instead of a subordinating conjunction, a coordinating conjunction.
Okay.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I can do it. The man is rich,
Okay.
but he is unhappy.
I love it. Wait. Okay, and again, what is wrong with this sentence?
Comma. That's just the comma.
Yeah, it's the comma. Okay. A man is rich, comma, but he is unhappy. Okay, very good. Lena was correct. Mustafa is correct. He did exactly as I asked. The comma and the coordinating conjunction tying together the two independent clauses. It's really quite strange, but here it is. When we use again, the infamous fanboys when we use the fanboys, we don't consider them as really part of the clause. I don't know why. I don't know why. But we don't consider it as part of the clause. We sort of omit it and we don't consider it. So we consider the man is rich and he is unhappy. Well, exactly what we have here. However, when we use a subordinating conjunction, we do count it as part of the clause. And so it doesn't make sense. I don't know why. English is crazy. Okay. Any last questions about subordinating conjunctions? Any last violent reactions?
No question.
Question? Violent reactions? Anybody want to scream really loudly? Okay, all right. Let's call it a day then. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. You guys were great.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, okay.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
help.
Bye all.
Take
All right,
care.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
It's time for supper.
Yes, it is. You got that right. You're exactly correct.
Bye, teacher.